Hello guys, we're still discussing equity valuation, but let's make a recap about the difference between FCFF and FCFE. FCFE is the cash flows that are left after I've paid all my operating expenses, including taxes, and my reinvestment needs, like reinvestments in fixed assets and working capital. So the cash flows that are left after this are for common shareholders, for debt holders, and for preferred shareholders if these exist. Similarly, free cash flows to equity is the cash flows left after we've paid the operating expenses, which include taxes and the reinvestment needs in fixed assets and working capital, but also after we've paid our debt holders. So it's the money that only the common shareholders have a claim on. So the first one is the FCFF, and it's about getting the firm's value, which is the present value of all the FCFFs that we will be receiving infinitely. That we'll be estimating, we won't necessarily be receiving, discounted to the present value by the WACC, which is the weighted average cost of capital. And then after we get the value of the firm, we get the value of equity by subtracting the market value of debt. The second way, which you already are familiar with, is to simply estimate the free cash flows to the equity and discount them by RE, which is the cost of equity, instead of WACC. So be careful to the difference, and that's how we get the value of equity. Ideally, actually, if we were very consistent in our calculations and what we assumed is that here we assumed it in this model too, those two should yield a very similar answer. However, if you don't have a stable capital structure, which means in some years we had more debt, while in others we had more equity, then the cost of equity that we'll be putting here might not necessarily reflect what we should put, our real cost. Whereas if we, because of the unstable REs that we're having, so how can we make sure that RE is accurate here, or we have an accurate discount rate? So instead, we could simply similarly, the growth and the FCE could be different. Yeah, and not very stable too. So instead, whether we're financing from equity or debt, the WACC would capture that. And so here, if we were not having a stable capital structure, the WACC would be a better discount rate to use, and the growth rate in FCFF would be more reliable, so we will be getting a more accurate firm value, and then we'll just simply subtract that and get a better equity value. So this is something to consider, of course. This is pretty much it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press the like button if you find this useful.